and then go down, up, in like this, lean forward. I decided to come to a local park. This really shows that you can really do this workout absolutely anywhere. We're gonna go through it. It's gonna be really easy, perfect for beginners too. You can just do it anywhere. You can do it at your house, you can do it at the park, in the backyard, at a hotel, anywhere. We're gonna start out with a warm-up so that we don't get any tweaks or anything like that. It's very important to do mobility work beforehand. So I do these to really open up my hips, make sure it's ready to go for what we're gonna start out with. And I actually recommend holding on to something for these, unless you have really good balance. And then we're gonna do some cat and cows. These really help kind of get the back ready, so the actual spine flexible and ready to do the movements. This mobility exercise alone really helped me prevent any injuries and to help rehab from my last injury, which was because I didn't do any of this. So it's really important that you do these again. And I know it can be embarrassing, but it's really worth it to do them in the long run. Oh, and what I used to do for these was I used to do them in the locker room of the gym, and before that I did it in the stall of the bathroom. I just did not like doing them in public, so you're absolutely fine to do that if you want. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna use the weights that I just bought from the store, and they're only $13, by the way. It's really easy to get them, and if you don't have the money for that, you can just use like gallon water jugs or really anything. It doesn't have to be exactly 10 pounds, just something that you can use where you know how to progress it and raise the weight over time. I personally went with the 10-pound dumbbells though, because it's a really good way to start out with it. We're gonna start out doing Bodyweight RDLs to get the kind of glutes activated, and then we're gonna go on from there. You wanna make sure that you're focusing on the muscle, and I say this a lot, but you really wanna make sure you're focusing on the muscle and not the weight. That's why we wanna start out with no weight right now. That way you're able to feel it right. So when you go down, you really wanna make sure you're thinking about the muscle, which is for me the upper glutes. You can think about the hamstrings or the lower glutes, but just make sure you're thinking about the muscle. I like to pretend I'm about to sit down in a chair. Just do the same exact movement as you would sitting down in a chair, but just to make that movement very slow and controlled. And that's what builds up the muscle and the stability muscles and everything like that. So we're gonna do about 20 of these. Really good to start out practicing your breathing, because your breathing is a huge important factor once you raise the weight to your progress level, because breathing not only stabilizes your core, but it brings the oxygen to the muscles, which you really need. That's a huge problem that I see people do. my feet. I don't know if you can see them, but they're very close together. That way you get more glutes and less hamstrings for me personally. So now I'm just gonna add in the dumbbells now. So the same exact movement, but with dumbbells or any type of weight that you have at all. It can be anything you have around the house, anything you have around you. It can be anything. As I go down, I hold the weight at my thighs the entire way down. And the way you know you're doing the form wrong is if the weight is not at your thigh. So it should be scraping against your thigh the whole time. And we're gonna do about, I'd say 15 of these. So breathe in and breathe out on the way to the top, not at the top. So you wanna breathe in before you go down and breathe out as you go back up. So I stop at my knees because everyone's body to limb ratio is different. So for my body, I know that I should always go back up at the knees. Someone else with different limb ratios than me could go way past their knees and feel the entire stretch and the activation the whole time. So with those, you want to do 4 sets of 15. If you don't feel it after that, you want to make sure you go even slower on the way down and more controlled, more intense, more thought, and more focus. Okay, so I'm holding on to the tree now, and it should be a lot easier when you hold on to something. So we're gonna go do the same thing, but with one leg. I'm gonna be working the right glute. So this is gonna be working the top of the right glute. And again, this will take many times for you to feel it. It will not be instant. And it's very important you take a really good pre-workout before you do these. That way you have the activation, the beta alanine, so you can really put all your effort and focus into that muscle. So we're gonna do about 20 of these for each leg with no weight. So go down, up, down, up. I'll use the other leg, down, up. And notice how my back is stiff the whole time during the entire movement. I'm not bending or anything. I'm keeping it completely stiff. The kinetic chain is completely in line the whole time. And you can kind of see the point of rotation is at my glutes. So my glutes are staying at the same exact level, whereas I'm using my entire body rotation as the weight for it. This is why once you start doing them enough, you start feeling them a lot. Not like going like this at all during the movement. You want to keep it like this and then keeping it just like that the whole time. So I have my 10-pound dumbbell here. I'm just going to use this on the opposite arm of the working leg. So whatever side glute I'm feeling, I'm holding it on the opposite side. You want to keep going until you start feeling the burn a lot. Whew. Those are always take a lot out of you because it requires so much focus. So take a 2-minute breather after that. By the way, between each exercise, you want to wait about a minute. So now we're going to do some hip thrusts. We're going to do 4 sets of 20. So I actually found this kind of device-like thing on TikTok Shop where you can use dumbbells as like a hip thrust bar, which I thought was really cool. I'm not sponsored at all by them. They're not paying me to say this. I bought this with my own money. And I thought I would just include it in this video because I thought something you can pack with you really anywhere. You can even put it in like a purse, honestly. If you don't have this and you don't want it, you can always use the weight or your body weight. But I thought this was cool just to include in this video because you can really pack it anywhere with you. If you do want to get it, I'll link the TikTok that I bought it off of, and I love it so much. It's really cool. I found this bench right here. You have to get kind of creative with it, because for hip thrusts you want to have something to stabilize your back. Kind of use it as a bench that you would in the gym. And if you can't find a bench anywhere in a park or in your hotel or wherever you are, you can use a bed, you can use a couch, you can use a plaything in the park. You can use so many different things. So we're gonna do body weight first, as always, to get the glutes activated. And then we're gonna go right into the working sets, which is gonna be, again, 4 sets of 30. So I put my arms up here, lift myself up the tiniest amount. And if you wanna feel your glutes more, you can pull this limb in closer to you, which is what I do personally. And then you go up, keeping my head forward so I'm looking straight ahead of me. Down. Again, my breathing. You want to hold for about 15 seconds. This will really get it activated for the working sets. You want to squeeze as hard as you can. Whew. Now we're gonna go into the weighted sets. And for these, we're gonna do 4 sets of 15. And again, if you don't feel it for them, you wanna go up in rep until you feel it. And you wanna go slower, more controlled, more focused, and more intense with it. If you don't feel it within 4 sets of 15 reps, that means you're going too fast. You're not thinking about the muscle hard enough, and you just need to give it more time for your body to build up the mind-muscle connection. So I promise you, if you don't feel it, you will if you give it enough time. 4 sets of 15, let's do it. Hold for 15 seconds. Keeping my head forward the whole time. Whew. So now you would wait a minute and go on to the next 3 sets and do the same exact thing. During the minute that you wait, you're breathing in and breathing out a lot. So that way, the most oxygen possible is getting to the muscle you're tiring, giving it more ATP. Basically, that means energy, as quick as possible. So the more you breathe, the harder you breathe, even though you may not feel like you need to breathe that much and that hard, the more you can get out of the next sets. And I'll show you what you need to do if you are using body weight only. And if you don't have any weight, this is what you need to do. So it is the same premise. You need to use one leg. That way you're giving your working leg bearing weight. So you want to do the same form, same angle and everything. You want to go up like usual, and you want to lift this leg off the ground and then go down, up. And then hold for the same amount of time as with the regular weight and regular hip thrust. And those are actually more difficult than the weight-bearing ones, but it takes more stability. It may take practice, but you will get it eventually. The next ones is gonna be Bulgarian split squats. You can do body weight with this, or you can use any type of weight with this, but the premise is to go very slow and controlled, the same as all the other exercises. So for these, what you want to do, you want to sit down on whatever you are using to do the hip thrust on, and you want to extend your body out just like this. So extend it just like this, hold your legs straight out, and then bend the non-working leg in like this, lean forward, and then use that non-working leg to push yourself forward, just like this. That way if you have a weight, you can use that leg to push yourself up and use it as momentum, which you'll see in a second. Then what you want to do is put that non-working leg up and use it for balance. Get that glute activated. Hopefully after the hip thrust, it will be very activated. And then just slow and controlled go down, and then powerful on the way up. And the breathing will be exactly the same on these, so and you want to lean into this glute. You want to make sure you're flaring out your knee and don't let it go in, or else you won't feel the glute working at all. So you want to make sure you're flaring out the knee, leaning to the side of the working glute, and then you're going to do about as many as you can do for these until you feel it burning, until you can't do any more basically. And then without moving that foot, you want to take the other foot, line it up right next to the other one, and just put that one back. And do the same exact thing, as many reps as possible. No rest in between. If you do not have weight, you want to progress it by going slower and more controlled. Go back, push yourself up. So that is it for this workout. I really hope you enjoyed. This is something you can do wherever you are. Again, if you can do stuff like this, it really, really helps, especially when you're first starting out. I know for me, it took the longest to just go to the gym, and I could have been doing this stuff before that and during it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please subscribe, like, and comment. You have a good one, and goodbye.